Welcome to the Maxwell Fabrics and Telefina Design Studio. I'm Zoë Anderson, Design Director, and my job at Maxwell is to oversee our product development and merchandising. I'm excited to show you around the studio today and also share a bit of a behind the scenes on the process of developing a new collection. Our studio is part of our head office. We're in Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm really lucky to be in this space and also to have been a part of the planning process. The building was a shell when we moved in, so we really got to customize. So one of the defining features in the studio when we were planning the space are the walls of samples that you see here. These are our sales walls. So these samples represent historical sales, and I've got it broken down by category. So I have a visual reference point for how well certain designs or colors within a category have sold, and it gives me useful information at a glance when I'm working on a new collection. Speaking of category, when we are planning new product and new launches, our jumping off point is really what specific category do we need more of in the line. So for example, is it time in our product cycle to do more like faux leather? Are we in need of a performance velvet? Or are we adding more drapery into the line? So that's a back and forth process that begins with the big whiteboard over there that I'm going to hide from you. That's just the area to jot down ideas and see how things might map out for the next 18 months to 2 years, because we plan really far in advance. I keep my own library of books here in the studio. I keep these separate from our design assistant team who has their books in the main space. So I use these to refer back to previous collections, and I keep my books separate because I take little bites out of them, sometimes for color direction. It's also great to have access to the memo sample inventory that we keep here for local Vancouver clients. I am constantly back here to pull samples, whether I'm merchandising a new design back to a previous bestseller, or I just want to put together a mood board. Beyond deciding on the product category and the usage, when I'm at the concept stage for a new collection, I rely a lot on mood boarding. I'm in a continuous cycle of this. I find it really important to be constantly curating and kind of distilling down a common theme. So my desk area and the walls around the studio are an evolving collage of inspiration, from colors and shapes to maybe more esoteric themes. It is also a way to externalize my ideas to share. I collaborate a lot with Nikita, who manages our marketing, comms, and social media, so it helps our work together to have physical images in our shared space. I write down a lot of adjectives and theme ideas at random times too. It really helps me when I'm writing our copy and expressing trends to have a running list as words come to me. Sometimes a collection comes out of this concept and mood boarding process, especially if it's a collection where I'm doing artwork to be developed with the mill. More often though, the starting point is actually which vendor we're going to work with. We start there. We work with some really wonderful suppliers, from weaving mills all over the world to converters in the US. These are really valuable partnerships, and everyone has a specialty. A big part of what I do is developing relationships with these suppliers and knowing who to go to for what. For example, India makes very beautiful silk and incredible embroideries. They do a lot of linens, base cloth for prints. Turkey and France are known for gorgeous shears. Belgium does beautiful velvet, and in America we have these very venerable jacquard weaving mills. These tables are custom built to hold bins so that I can keep samples from our different vendors sorted and separated. As I work through the various samples that the supplier sends me and narrow down some options, I work onto the tabletop. These black boards are like the foundation of the studio. When I say it's on the boards, then it's something that's real and concrete that I'm working on. The boards let me keep a collection together while it's in development. I'm working sometimes with tiny cuttings, and when I want to move things around, the boards let me do that. There is a lot of information to gather for each style that we're working on. It has to be documented and then entered into our planning and budgeting spreadsheets. There's a lot of admin, a lot of data entry in the process. If we need to run testing, for example, on a performance upholstery collection or on a drapery collection that crosses over from residential to contract, then I'm writing up lab submittals and sending yardage to the accredited lab that we work with. Now, sometimes I'm selecting colorways that the supplier has already developed, but a lot of the time I'm going through the whole color trial process. So I'm sending specific colors and maybe embroidery yarn color references and different combinations that I'd like to see the mill run. So I cut everything up and then ship it off to the mill for their reference. Once all of the development samples, the color trials, and all of the testing are done, once we have our costing and we're all sorted out, then I do a full review of the collection with our company president. We go back and forth. It's a lot of fun. We kind of discuss everything and decide on any changes. Then I put together the final rotation if it is a booked collection. So rotation is the order and arrangement of the swatches in the book, and it can be quite important. It really helps make the grouping cohesive. So when it's finalized, we can get the boards to our purchaser, who then puts the orders in with the suppliers so they can weave yardage to get to our sample maker. There are 1,000 little details to communicate to our sample maker who manufactures the books, from naming the patterns and the colors to the book name itself, the artwork, rotation, and then photography as well. Most of our SKU photography, which are the images that you see of each design and colorway on our website, is done in-house. We also shoot all of our lookbooks for each season in-house. That is our final step right before we launch a collection. We want to show how the whole season can be used together or go back to designs and items that we already have in the line. We share these lookbooks digitally. It helps us to communicate the mood and the trends of the season visually, and it makes it easy to browse new launches even before physical books might be sent. Thank you so much for joining us on a tour of the studio.